AB30. First of all, it's happy Merry Christmas, Ukrainian Christmas today for those of you that are celebrating today, and wish you all the best. Um, this video is going to focus on the Worldview Thematic project. And as I stated before, you are my first class that's going to be doing this. And obviously, we're going to have a few questions on how to go about this project, but I do believe it will turn out quite well as I do a similar project for the A30 course. And some of you already have a pretty good idea of what's going on or how you're going to approach the project, which is great. If you have any questions that come up during the research period, and of course as we work on it in class, and as you work on it on the days that you're not in class, please send those questions to me. You can send it through Google Classroom as a private comment, and then I can reply right directly to you, which would be the best way to go about it, especially on those days that you're not here. Or you can wait till you come back to class on the day that you are here, then you can ask those questions. But just so you are aware, I've come up with the document for you, and I'm just going to go over that with you. I'm not sure if I'll post it on Google Classroom yet, because I may have to do some tweaks or something like that. But just to get you started anyways, and hopefully this will clear up some of your concerns or any questions that you may have. So let's share with the document here. And so when you look at the assignment, which is located on the LibGuide version 16 course outline booklet, not the one that I gave you in class, not the hard copy one. The actual one is on the LibGuide, or it's also on Google Classroom. And so this is the guide for you. You have Worldview's Thematic Research Project guide. We have two curricular themes or units, as they're most commonly referred to, for the Worldview's B30 course. We have the Search for Self and the Social Experience. Now, and if you just follow along, I'm starting at the top of the page, working my way down here. The Search for Self has 4 components, okay? And I'm using the term components. If you want to use themes, you can do that too. There's ideals, joys, inspiration, and overcoming doubts and fears. The social experience side deals with universal issues, ambition, power, the common good, social criticism, and addressing the issues. Okay? Now, your research project, whichever topic you choose, will fit into one of those themes, either Search for Self or the social experience. Whichever theme or unit you choose, you will incorporate the components into your presentation that's directed in the course outline booklet and explained in class, and of course in this video. So the following part of the project, that there have been questions. You will choose one set of components or the other as they represent the theme and unit of the course. So what came up in day 1's class was which one do we do? Do we do all of them, or do we just do some of them, or whatever the case? So I've taken the excerpt from the actual assignment. So we have page 6. Now keep in mind the page numbers are going to be different for you. But we have the Search for Self. That's the left side, and that's the ideals, joys, and inspirations. So if you are doing Search for Self, you are doing just that side, and then you disregard the rest. If you choose the social experience side, then of course you have universal issues, ambitions, powers, and or ambition and power of this worldview. Now, it says at least 5. Now, when you are doing any kind of research project, you or even an explanation of for an assignment or things like that, rule of thumb, you should have 3 to 5 points. Okay, so it says at least 5. Now, that's just a ballpark, but if you aim for 3, that's good. 4 is better. 5 is perfect, okay? Because now you have a more well-rounded approach. So, and then of course you do the same thing because you've chosen, say you search for self, which I'm going to be discussing as my example. The next one for page 7, I would do the search for self, which would be steps for overcoming doubts and fears, and I disregard the rest. Okay, and again come up with 5. And again, I will show you what I would do if I was following that path of search for self. Now, you don't want to mix one theme over another. So you don't want to take part of search for self and then part of social experience. Those are two different things. Yes, there are some correlations between the two, because that's why we have the whole course, the worldview B30 course. But for the purpose of this project, you were just focusing on just the one side of it, okay? And in exploring and expanding your ideas and knowledge in regards to the various different components for that particular theme. So, for example, my topic will be epilepsy. Okay, and I'm going to give it a good title. Okay, so my title is Epilepsy, Drowning Cherries, and Darth Maul. Okay, my story of being an epileptic. So my project is going to be about my story. Okay, and my theme and unit, this is going to fit into the search for self. It can fit into social experience, but I'm going to lean more towards the search for self. So for page 6, it's requiring at least 5 examples to discuss. You should have one example of ideals, one of joy, and one of inspirations. And like I stated, that's 3. So that's good. It's good. It'll be a good project for you and a good response. But try to expand and go a little further. So I'm going to aim for 5. Okay. So I will choose, so I have 3, so I will come up with another example of joys and inspiration to meet my 5 example requirement. And I'll do the same for page 7, the overcoming doubts and fears. So now, even though there's just one thing for the search for self, I'm going to come up with 5, okay? So for my planning, and you should be doing a planning approach, that's like an outline, so you have all that information ahead of time before you start to formalize things. So the ideals, I found the definition, a standard of perfection, principle to be aimed at. That's the definition of what ideals means. So I came up with questions instead. So how can a person with epilepsy maintain standard of perfection living with uncertainty? So that will be my approach to discuss ideals. Joys. Can a person experience seizures? Can a person experiencing seizures experience joys in life? That's my first one. And in my second joy approach would be, what are some examples of joys that I've experienced as an epileptic? Inspirations. If a person has seizures and they occur anytime, how can one have inspirations in life and in a career? And how did I achieve my inspirations knowing that I could have a seizure at any time or anywhere? Okay, so now that's my page 6, and obviously I'll have more pages focusing on that. And then we have page 7, we have overcoming doubts and fears. So I've come up with 5 inquiry questions. And so what doubts did I have growing up with epilepsy? When I found out I have seizures only at night, how did that erase those doubts? What fears did I have in the beginning of stages of being an epileptic? Why did it take until age 25 before I was able to talk about being an epileptic? And why does it feel like I'm drowning when I have a seizure, and why is that scary? Okay, so that's pretty much the bulk of the paper or the project itself. Now I get into the other components, and so the Venn diagram would look like this. So I have the search for self, that's my theme, and I have my components, ideals, joys, inspiration, overcoming doubts and fears, and then I've put some bullet points in there to expand on what those joys are, what those ideals are, inspirations, overcoming doubts and fears, and a Venn diagram shows that they all correspond or correlate with the theme itself, the search for self. So that's all you have to do for your Venn diagram. Okay? So I've got that done. The literature part, this is could be a challenge, but again, 3 to 5 examples. And obviously, when you are providing a synopsis, you are paraphrasing what those examples are and cite it accordingly. So I did an article, I did a short story, and I did abstracts. Okay, so obviously I did a copy and paste, and no, you're not supposed to do that. But just for the sake of the example, just that's what I would expand on a little further and paraphrase it accordingly, and then cite it appropriately using MLA 8. So just to give you an idea. So yes, I haven't. I've just taken snapshots of these examples just to show you what it could look like. But obviously, when I formalize it, I would not be presenting it in this fashion, because I have not presented it as a direct quote, or I haven't followed the procedures when it comes to borrowing. So I'm just, you want to be sure you are paraphrasing, you're putting in your own words and going from there. Okay, so that should help you with your project. If you have any other questions, please let me know, and then we'll continue working on it in class. Okay, take care, be safe.